Lawdog Sports, the Weekend Big Show here with you early again this week on a Thursday as yours truly and my partner Jeremy Schroeder have some obligations going on. Yours much more important than mine, Jeremy, but I appreciate you being flexible and getting back out here on the podcast for a day early version. And it's not bad to go on Thursdays. It's still kind of a weekend big show. It's sometimes when we go on Friday and some of the major golf tournaments are going on, we've got, at least one day's worth of scores to kind of scour over. But you've also mentioned, and I put it on our agenda, the RBC Open going on in Hamilton, Ontario. And it's always fun to see these events because the fact that they are just kind of prequels to the big ones, and that last big one would be we got two more big events coming up. The U.S. Open will be on June 13th through 16th. So I'm kind of ready to see, who kind of jumps up and starts taking over in the world of golf after Scotty Scheffler, dodged the hammer of justice, the gavel of justice.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed in the people that put on the RBC. They should take notes from the Greater Phoenix Waste Management Open and just make it just an outdoor party. Labatt's everywhere. Let's go.
What's that line from Big Daddy where Jon Stewart says, that Molson 3.2 is like moonshine? And the old drunk guy goes, hell yeah. Anyway, but so Jeremy's kind of monitoring the RBC Open for us as he's the one out of the duo that is paid for ESPN Plus. Yours truly has not jumped on that bandwagon quite yet.
I'm watching the Rory McIlroy group right now. I'm trying to figure out how to switch between groups. I got a new TV, so just bear with me.
There you go. So I'm trying to find out if we are streaming on Facebook. We,
nope, it says our video has ended.
Really?
Yeah. Zuckerberg got us again.
I hate that guy. We may just have to go straight to just streaming on YouTube if people, I think our dedicated faithful would go find us there.
Dan definitely would, yes.
Dan, Steve Anderson, probably even some of my old cop buddies maybe would check it out. Of course, I think they're scouring Facebook. That shows we're
showing up on the Lawdog page, but
you know what I did?
You did it.
I did the second stream. I bet we're streaming on my personal page. That's not good.
It says we're streaming on Lawdog Sports.
Wow.
Yep.
Huh. Not getting the stream, and I always like to try to keep up with the folks, But we did open up the phone. Yeah. Lawdog Sports is live now. Wow. I hate the Daily Show, and what it's become. But I saw a clip the other day because I watch, now that I'm retired, Jeremy, I watch 6 hours of Seinfeld a day, every single.
Well, yeah. And that doesn't seem like a lot,
No, but they play clips, during the commercials. And one guy was talking about, it was a Daily Show guest host, or I don't know how they do that anymore. But he was talking about, the cost of college and, what it costs for books tuition and room and board and a computer to start a social network that ends democracy. I don't really agree with you, but I can laugh at that.
Who's the full-time host now?
I don't know. Stewart's on there. Two
on
Jon
Mondays.
Stewart references in one episode. That's got to be a first.
Maybe they should bring Craig Kilborn back. Get a little '90s flavor in there.
Why not, dude? I mean, has he done anything since Old School?
Yeah, I was going to say Old School, but yeah, you said Old School. I don't know. I have no idea what that
end his career. That's my.
I don't know.
So
was he flipped the Porsche off the bridge and that was it.
That's hey, it didn't end Rosillo's career breaking into people's houses in Idaho. So, I mean, mistakes are made. Give people some grace. But we have opened up the phone lines, Jeremy, 580-952-9145. If you want to be a part of the program, we're going to allow that today. 580-952-9145. If somebody wants to chime in and call, you could even be one of our regulars who chimes in. But so anyway, we had a long agenda that I sent you the other night because I wanted to try to organize this show a little more.
And I have it open on my desktop right now.
You do. I mean, I knew you.
Yeah, I'm ready.
But first off, we'll two things to start off with. Memorial Day. Your father was a veteran, if I remember right.
Yes.
My father was a veteran. Memorial Day, I probably was in my 30s when people pointed out and clarified to me Memorial Day is about people who fell in battle.
Yes.
I get it, but you can still pat a veteran on the back. That's fine. But I shared the article on our Facebook page and maybe on the Twitter page at Lawdog Sports. Bob Kalsu. When I think of the two things in my life, sports being one of the big ones, a veteran, there's Pat Tillman, there's several others, but Bob Kalsu, over there in Vietnam and his life. And then my cousin, her name is Marie, she commented on the Facebook post with a lot of background about the Kalsus and his family and their impact on the city of Dale City, Oklahoma. So that was really cool for her to do that. She's lifelong educator, so that's what you get when you have a cousin that's educated. But no, I remember reading that article, and I think that goes back to the late 90s or early 2000s, Jeremy, that Sports Illustrated did that feature on Bob Kalsu, and it just really it's always hit home with me about those who the phrase "some gave all," and it's an amazing article. If you can find it online, go do that now. But Robert Kalsu, a great Oklahoma Sooner, and I'm sure there's players from all over the country, all over different schools who went and served during that time. But he was a lineman for the Buffalo Bills, I believe, at the time. So
it was, yes,
just an amazing story. And then also, I would be remiss if we didn't talk about two departures this week. And one, really kind of hit me just because I'd come to really enjoy a lot of the stuff that the guy did. And the other one was just like, wow, thank you, Lord. But we lost Bill Walton this week. And in tribute to Bill Walton, Jeremy, I wanted to pull a clip of one of our favorite guys, Frank Caliendo, when he appeared on a play-by-play with Bill Walton and Dave Pasch, and here's a little bit of that.
Bill Walton is here, along with Bill Walton.
How great is this? Enjoying ourselves, enjoying the energy happening here inside the arena, outside, the beautiful, the landscape that is Arizona, but inside. The look on your face, Bill, is that of utter frustration.
Finally, some inspiration. The negativity that I have to fight every single moment. And now someone here who can shine the light. Someone who can appreciate the beauty of a saguaro. Somebody who knows about the grandeur of the Sonoran Desert. Somebody who knows that rivers can flow uphill.
You never know when to talk when he's going, do you? You never know when there's going to be a break. He continues to go the entire time. What was that three? I wasn't even looking. I wasn't paying attention to the
There was a two by Alonzo Bird.
There's a great play going on while that's going out over the air. But, I think the Pac-12, obviously he was a West Coast guy, played at UCLA, this and that. I don't think another conference could have handled him being their primary color commentator on their basketball broadcast. The Big 12.
I don't know how John Wooden handled him being on his squad in that era.
Yeah. So
if as free as he was.
Yeah. If you've been under a rock, Bill Walton, NBA legend and UCLA college basketball legend and broadcast legend in my book, passed away this week at age 71 after a battle with cancer. I remember Bill Walton as a player. I have a brother who's 14 years older than me. And there used to be a lot of Sundays when he would come visit, the family, because he was an adult and I was basically an elementary age kid. But it seemed like NBA games back when I was a kid took forever. But he was always a big Bill Walton fan, and I hated the '86 Celtics. I wanted.
That's all I remember him for as a player.
Yeah, the Portland days were well before my NBA viewing, and you probably had. I mean, I'm sure their championship run was aired on CBS. Would that have been Vern Lundquist back then and Tommy Heinsohn? I don't know, but
probably was that. What was 80
77, I think
77. Yeah, it was 2. I don't know.
Yeah. But his highlight days as a player were well before us. I mean, before we really, would have been into that much sports. But I do remember the '86 Celtics. I was rooting for Hakeem and Hakeem, sorry, and particularly Alan Level, who was a former OCU chief back then. He played for who did he play for? I don't remember if he played for Hanson or who, but so anyways, I was a big fan of that Houston team, but the Celtics got that job done. That was a weird season that the Rockets even got past the Lakers that year, but
I'm trying to remember who else was on that Rockets team.
One of the
Samson on that team.
Yeah, it was Twin Towers. It was Samson.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think Kenny the Jet was on that one.
Nah, that's too early for him.
There was Rodney. There was a kid from Louisville, Rodney. He was a wing player, and he really got down the floor quick. Alan Level from Oklahoma City University, and then anyway, but Houston made up for it in the mid '90s when Jordan took a hiatus, and Dan Narva. Craig Elo. Was Elo on that team?
That's what Basketball Reference says.
Who's there's a Rodney.
Rodney McCray. Oh, John Lucas.
Yeah. Yeah, Lucas ran the point. Yeah. So Dan Narva checking in. Hey, I see that Starbucks Oklahoma cup. Is that for Max Patton helping us out there, John Lucas. Is that for all of Oklahoma or is it an OU special issue? It's an all Oklahoma. It's got everything Sooner State. In fact, it's got a shopping cart on it because the shopping cart was invented.
Did you get that at the airport Starbucks?
No.
Was that there when you were there?
No, there wasn't a Starbucks. A coffee mug or whatever that was.
Oh, okay.
And let me tell you something. And full disclosure, because dining, if you didn't bring your lunch and you worked at the airport, dining was actually pretty limited. I mean, you can only have so many Schlotzkys. I was watching the kid make a sandwich at that coffee spot there, and he just sneezed bigger than Dallas all over
Gross.
the I said, nope, never again. Max Patton checking in, giving us some help from with John Lucas. So anyways, but Bill Walton passed away, and I got to say, we've talked about this before, Jeremy. Those broadcasts were just must-see TV for me. I dug it. I hit that point to where watching somebody who's more off the rails and kind of out there than me really kind of struck a note.
I grew up watching Harry Carey, so.
Well, sure. Yeah, we all got Aruba. Aruba. But, Dave Pash, and I watched several of the tributes. I really enjoyed the NBA on the Inside the NBA guys giving tribute to Bill Walton, and then also Dave Pash was on with Scott Van Pelt the night after it was announced, or the night it was announced. But the thing about it is one thing I noticed about the Inside the NBA guys, which if you think about it, Jeremy, tonight could be the last broadcast of the Inside the NBA. We'll get into the playoffs more here. So I was watching it with bated breath the other night, thinking, okay, this is Dallas closes them out. We have no more TNT, NBA broadcasts.
And then Anthony Edwards remembered he's possibly MJ's son, and
I think
just went off.
And Carl Anthony Towns remembered that he, how to launch that 3-pointer 4 for 5. But we'll get into that more. But anyway, so I've really enjoyed all the tributes, and I really enjoyed all the people coming out. One area where we haven't seen a lot of tributes, and I haven't caught, in all honesty, I haven't caught any of the MLB shows this week. But Angel Hernandez steps down, which has to be some. I mean, has there been greater news since like VE Day or one of those things from back in the World War II time? I mean,
well,
I thought I saw sailors like force kissing women out in the city.
You got to remember that he's landing on a huge sack of cash as part of his settlement. Oh yeah, he did. You know he did.
Oh, I hate that because I mean he's claiming racism.
I know,
and I'm sorry. It's about like those Chickasaws that advertise for their tribe that are blonde-haired and blue-eyed, talking about how proud they are to be Chickasaw. And I just want to say, nobody's ever thought you were Chickasaw in your life.
I didn't know Bryce Petty was Chickasaw.
Yeah, I mean, Dan Bradford barely. I mean, he's Cherokee.
Oh, come on, man.
But I mean, being someone who's been mistaken for multiple races and ethnicities, I take offense to Angel Hernandez claiming racism. You're just
he's Cuban.
Yeah, well, that's worse. If you ever, I don't know if your lovely bride has ever exposed you to the intricacies of Latin America, but our old friend Jesse that I worked with, he was one of the first ones that let me know that Mexicans and Puerto Ricans and Mexicans and the Caribbean Latinos hate each other.
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
and the South Americans.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm sure. And
they all hate each other. Yeah,
I just assume they threw that in there.
Oh yes, it's
speaking of South America, I sat down and watched a movie this week, The Boys from Brazil, and you talk about a whopper. Beck, Laurence Olivier. It's about Mengele and trying to spawn DNA from Hitler, and they had a scene in there where a doctor's breaking down cloning, and this is 77, something like 78, and it's like, holy cow, they've had the blueprint for a long time, dude.
Oh yeah, the Nazis. We probably shouldn't get into that, but
no, I mean, but if you're bored and you're looking for a pretty good movie to watch, The Boys from Brazil, Lawrence, and
it probably should have been The Boys from Argentina.
That's what I thought, but I don't know. And a young Steve Guttenberg in it as well. So Angel Hernandez steps away as we're blasting all things Latin. And so let's go here and hear a little bit of one of my favorite instances. Unfortunately, the video serves the purpose much better, but Jeremy's going to know what I'm talking about here.
Goes home, Chicago! And don't worry, I'll have some speaks with that home plate umpire after the game. Ooh, I won. I too.
So Steve McMichael, bless his heart, who's dealing with is he got
ALS?
Tough break for him, but one of the great moments. I think they said that was 2001 when he did the 7th inning stretch, and Hernandez giving him the evil eye from down behind home plate. Dude, McMichael would clean your house so quick.
Yeah, that's the guy's 5 times your size. Stop it. Just
and a nasty disposition when he was probably liquored up a little bit.
Go grab a cup of Gatorade and act like you didn't hear anything.
Yeah. And so no, that wasn't Angel Hernandez. And really his dealings with Bryce Petty here in the latter years were
Harper.
Oh,
Bryce Harper.
Yeah, Harper. Have been just the thing of monumental,
Well, was it the Orioles game? I can't remember who was hitting, but they didn't throw a strike the entire at bat. No swings were taken, and it was a 2-2 punch out.
Mm-hmm.
Not a single strike the entire at bat.
Yeah, it was
the Angel experience.
But I think I tweeted you about maybe early in the month, and we're almost at the end of this month. But there's a Twitter page, Umpire Scorecard or something like that.
Yes,
That he was in the 90s.
Yeah, he's not the worst, which is I find that so hard to believe. Even Brett Boone, I guess gave an interview last night, said that Angel wasn't the worst that they
I
see
saw
in the
that.
game today.
I saw that.
It's just that he's so visible.
Yeah.
That whole squeaky wheel thing, and
Well,
when
and
he
the whole,
makes calls, big
the whole
stage.
attitude behind it. I mean, he's
Sure.
just the worst. But he was also terrible. I mean, there's and like you said, he's probably sitting on a big settlement now because that's how the world works.
Sure.
I don't know. I just
He made $500,000 for 20 some years to be awful at his job.
Yeah,
it's the American way.
It's about like an OCPD.
Whoa.
Maybe half a 100,000 a year.
Wow. Whoa.
Speaking of, I got to sound off, and I don't care who hears this. They screwed up my pension program this week. So I don't know how many officers are still at the airport that you encounter that were from back in my day. And the airport was typically a place where officers went out to pasture.
Yeah, there's a few low numbers around.
Yeah. But there might be a couple that, like one guy I think is out there that we went through the academy together. So he would be in his 32nd year, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The Senate overrode Kevin Stitt's veto yesterday to change the pension system to start giving people up to 90% of their pension. Jeremy, when I retired, the closest I could get was 75%, and I didn't hit that because I wanted to get out earlier.
Right.
It's going to break the system. I'll be without a pension in 5 years. I promise you. Thanks to our idiot Senate, which I will say, my senator, Darcy Yeck, out here in Western Oklahoma, I have on record voted against it. So he's in my corner. But enough of politics. And that's the bad juju that Angel Hernandez brings to the table. But he's no longer an MLB umpire. So, and the reason I brought that up was the guy that I'm mentioning out there that we went through the academy. He'll retire and pull in tons more money than I will. So thanks a lot.
Yep.
Let's take a quick break, get out of this segment. And when we come back, we'll go ahead and get into some NBA. And then also, Jeremy, we've got to talk about the SEC spring meetings, which were held the last couple of days in Miramar Beach, Florida. And yours truly has started following Paul Feinbaum on Twitter, and I guess he will be part of my afternoon viewing.
So he has to now. SEC just means more, Chuck. It just means more.
Dan Narva, I rang a bell, and Angel got his wings. Oh. All right, so let's go ahead and let's see, where'd my music go?
Maybe he could call an old timers game. They still have those?
I don't think. Anyway, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. This is the Lawdog Sports Weekend Big Show. Be right back. Hey, everybody. Chuck Ramsey, the Lawdog here. And if there are two things you can count on when it's springtime in Oklahoma, that's allergies and severe weather. So there's a good chance you're dealing with damage to your home as we speak, and then also fighting off all the companies going door to door as well. Don't take chances. Call my friend Mark McCaleb at Shamrock Roofing Systems and Construction. I've been friends with Mark for 30 years, and he's trustworthy and will take care of anything you need for your home after the storm. Whether it's residential or commercial, Shamrock Roofing Systems and Construction should be the call you make to repair your home. Just give them a call at 405-763-7663. That's 405-763-ROOF. Or find them online at shamrockroofingsystems.net and find them on Facebook at Shamrock Roofing Systems and Construction. Make today your lucky day and call Shamrock Roofing Systems and Construction.
The fighting spirit of the Marine Corps is born of battles won. Battles won within, over enemies of fear, enemies of doubt. It's who we are. It's what we do. It's a promise made to you.
You hear me?
For more than 2 centuries.
Yes.
You do.
A promise of the Marines.
Lawdog Sports back here with you. The Weekend Big Show. Chuck Ramsey, Jeremy Schroeder. Talking sports with you now 2 Thursdays in a row, which works out great for me because I do have a golf scramble tomorrow. But you've got some more pressing issues tomorrow, and we'll be remembering your little girl in prayer as you said she's having a procedure.
Oh yeah, she's having tonsillectomy. It's I know there's no such thing as minor surgery, but yeah, thank you.
Well, yeah, and you know, I think I was about her age when I should have had mine out, and my mother, bless her heart, she would have been 86 yesterday, 86 yesterday. But she opted not to, and didn't have me go through that. And I've had enough strep throat cases throughout my adult life that I really regret her decision.
So, same. I think my pediatrician may have been a quack. And said, well, that infection is going to go somewhere else. Like,
we got a lot of antibiotics we can feed into your kid over the next year. So
yeah, right. Sure.
Hey, speaking of your family, I reached out to a friend of your family, which I know you're probably going to say, hey, dumbass, I could have gotten him a lot quicker than you. But I reached out to Barry Trammell after he put out some feelers for people who were at the 2000 OU Nebraska game. And
I was there.
I sent him a long list of things I remember. And we've kind of been going back and forth. And I asked, he said he's now gone to Tulsa. He's going to be writing for the Tulsa World. I've always liked Trammell, specifically for the fact that he didn't, and you and I remember the dark days of the 90s for OU football. He didn't hold back. He didn't play with the program when things were wrong. And it's easy for a guy on the radio to talk smack. And you know, we're talking about the rotund guy who's always got schlock going on. But it's easy for people on the radio to talk, but it's when your word's in print, I mean, it can be clipped, it can be put on the refrigerator, and I don't remember him really holding back.
No. In fact, a quote he said about John Blake will forever be etched into my brain. It's like making John Blake the head coach at Oklahoma is like making the head burrito maker the CEO of Taco Bell.
Right. That was a lot. Hey, Marty Wandry, our good friend from Clinton Liquor, checking in from Tracy Arm Fjord in Alaska.
Fjord?
Fjord? Hey, Marty, you know what else is a fjord? Weatherfjord.
Weatherfjord?
Weatherfjord. Yeah.
The Swedish chef.
Man, Marty getting to trip Alaska in May while we're all ducking from severe weather.
Yeah. No tornadoes up there.
Are you a Channel 9 guy during the storms, or?
You know, I am not.
Yeah,
I'm not. You know, they have the most storm chasers, and they're pretty comprehensive. But I typically will watch Damon Lane, and if you've ever watched Aaron Tuttle's live feeds, he.
Oh God, no.
No.
I can't with him.
I just, you know, he doesn't freak out, so it's a little makes.
I'll say this. It's funny. We watch Pain in our house because it's kind of an entertainment thing as well. But you know, you've got the drinking game scorecard. But
so when you wake up in the middle of the floor, you know it was a good night.
Exactly. I promise he knows exactly what people are saying because he changes up his vernacular so frequently that
he has to. I mean, you see what he wears on live on the air. He has to know.
And my son is just grinding his gears because he won't shave that hair patch on top that
you can just barely see it.
Exactly. You know, it's like, oh, your picture, you got a lot more hair, but no, you don't. I'll say this, like you mentioned, he's got Marty Logan out here in Western Oklahoma, who starts out from he escorts them in from the Panhandle and Northwestern Oklahoma and kind of affects us first. So, and honestly, I just can't handle Michael Armstrong. He's just the worst to me. I despise him. But here's a funny note on the weather tick, and then we'll get out of here on this. So many people are going after Val Castor for
because he rolled his car.
Well, he rolled his car, but some guy put a deal out, said Val Castor's going to get somebody killed because he about cut us off or this and that. And you know who comes to his defense with with the brutality, our friend Grant Merrill from Panhandle Radio and up in Tulsa, he checks those people hard, you know, because they're just freelancers and Val's actually with a network. So hopefully they don't ever start doing that with podcasters. But hey, so anyways, back on sports. Before we get into some NBA stuff, which the last conference final game could be tonight, and as we mentioned, it could be the final inside the NBA broadcast for the TNT network. But it was an interesting game Tuesday night. We'll talk about it in just a minute. But the last couple of days, Jeremy, the SEC spring meetings have been going on, and I've got a little bit of audio here for you. It's a little long, so I hope you all can bear with us. But it's actually, I can probably cut it off for a while because it ends up just well, listen to it and tell me what you think.
Have you been to the Red River rivalry yet?
At the beginning of my career, I saw it.
It's ridiculous. It's the greatest thing ever. You may talk about the cocktail party, the Iron Bowl. It is nothing
I like
this
where this is
game
going. I think
at the state fair, because you have 300,000
detected
people.
something there.
300,000 people outside. No, the Iron Bowl is awesome. Don't get me wrong. At night, it's great. Same with but the cocktail party. But this game, nuts too. You got to throw us a bone there, P-Dub. What's up, buddy?
Joe, the University of Texas is not even an official member yet of the SEC, and he's already throwing shade on the Iron Bowl. Iron Bowl and the cocktail party.
No.
You'll be fine because we're not even allowed to call it the cocktail party.
When your callers come in.
I didn't know they weren't allowed to call it the cocktail party.
Yeah. For some reason, I don't know why. It's some silliness.
So former alcoholics.
So was CDC? Was he as nervous as a 5-year-old kid after a jumbo bag of M&Ms because Joe C was just staring at him?
Okay, so I tweeted this, and my tweet was the wrong reference, but I couldn't find the right GIF. I shared that video, and I used the Fredo clip. You know, I'm smart.
I'm smart.
But really, the one I wanted to find was the one where Vito slaps Sonny across the head and says, "Never tell anyone outside the family what you're thinking again." Meeting with the Turk, and I just thought, I bet Joe C dresses him down after that's over. You know, because it's just total poker face by Joe C.
Oh yeah,
who's been there a minute, and then
act like you've been there before, guy. Come on.
But if you watch the entire interview, and what we're talking about is that was a clip from Chris Del Conte, the Texas athletic director, on the Paul Feinbaum show yesterday. Audio credit to ESPN and the SEC network. But it was a beachside meeting on the Paul Feinbaum show, and I didn't get to watch the Sankey interview, Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, but Joe Castiglione, the OU athletic director, was there also. Man, the love fest between the two was getting a little cringy. I mean,
and I'm not a Feinbaum fan, but I wish he would have just dressed CDC down. It's like, it can't be better because your program hasn't been relevant except 1 year out of this last decade.
Yeah. I think the Iron Bowl has dictated who's made the college football playoff a few times over the last 10 years.
It has. Definitely.
But I will say this on the concept of Brett McMurphy 18 minutes ago, Oklahoma and Texas first red rivalry as SEC members will kick off at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, October 12th on ABC or ESPN.
What? 2:30 Central kickoff for the
2:30, baby. Back
the Red River. Hold on, I'm gonna say it. See if it gets your juices going. The Red River Shootout.
Yeah, thank you.
Isn't that better?
That's so much better.
It's a Red River rivalry.
It matriculates off the tongue, and
it's too many damn words. I can't do the rivalry thing.
No, Red River rivalry. It's like saying rural juror.
Rural
juror.
Makes me feel like Howard Schnellberger. Coming to run the wishbone.
Dan Narva giving Marty some tips on Alaska tourism, since he ends up there pretty close. But so, anyways, it was pretty interesting, and I don't know if it's true. And see if you can verify it for me while we're talking. But I saw a deal on Front Office Sports that said that the University of Texas is having a big celebration today for their entrance into the SEC.
Okay.
And the only thing I can relate that to on you and I on our idiot level is Kramer's entrance into the Yankees party with the tuxedo and the spin.
Okay. Oh yes.
That was quite an entrance.
So this is actually in Sports Illustrated. Texas set to host SEC Celebration Day to kick off new partnership. Afternoon activities on June 30th will commemorate the Longhorns joining the SEC, including concerts, food, and game day activities.
Okay, my bad. I read it. I thought May 30th, so it'll be June 30th. That's when it's official, right?
July 1st.
Okay. Well, you're there.
So it's probably going to be like a midnight deal.
Sure. Well, big party in Austin. I don't know if they'll plan anything in Norman. The curfew laws might prohibit that. I don't know. Or
well, we don't have a 6th Street in Norman, So
you got Lindsay. They're close to Del Rancho.
Oh yeah, hang out over there by the Del Rancho.
Plenty of dispensaries and such to.
Hey, Ray's Smokehouse Barbecue.
What
is on Lindsay? Yeah, Daryl Ray's place. You never ate there?
No. Where is that from the Del Rancho?
It's about 1.5 miles, 2 miles east on Lindsay.
So it's close,
right next
campus.
Yes, right next to the original Pizza Shuttle.
Oh, okay. Huh. Yep. So that's obviously been there since my wife and I.
It's been there. Yeah, it's been there a while. And there's one in Moore as well. So it's got a couple spots.
We used to hit Vans a lot. Vans Pig Stand over on Porter. That was always a good spot. Go ahead.
You didn't go to Billy Sims?
No, love Billy. Love what Billy did for football, but barbecue not quite up to my standards.
I've never.
As I say that, I would take one right now in Western Oklahoma.
Well, sure.
I've just got to throw this out here, and if it makes people mad, I'm sorry, but we have not had good barbecue in Western. There's more cows out here per capita than anywhere in the world, and we can't find good barbecue.
Surely somebody could throw some chip beef out there, huh?
Some brisket. I mean, I ate one barbecue sandwich from a facility, and I'm pretty certain it was that frozen tub of.
Not a restaurant, but a facility.
Well,
see, you're already making it sound an appetizer. Well, what's the Mexican food situation like out there?
There's a lot of Mexican. Man, I'm telling you, Jeremy, and this is, probably going to lose me some fans if they ever hear this, but I miss Juan del Fuego so bad. I mean,
yeah, well, if you're used to something.
The Mexican breakfast. I mean, the thing about it is I love Mexican food, and Tex-Mex, whatever, get real about it. But Tex-Mex or Mexican breakfast is where it's at for me. Chilaquiles and things like that. That's Chilaquiles. But there are plenty of Mexican. One place that we like is El Charro in Canton, which is only about a 20-minute drive for us. But so, anyways, and then Casa Soto in Weatherford is pretty good. It's funny because Alfredo's began in Weatherford.
But there's not a location there.
The original Alfredo.
There's one right up the street from me.
There's like 5 in the metro. Now
I haven't been there.
There's not one in Weatherford anymore. But
nice.
When we go to Yukon, we'll sometimes go to the Alfredos there. But anyway, so back on the SEC and OU in Texas. The thing about it is the SEC can get all butthurt about anything that Del Conte or Castiglione did or didn't say. But the thing they better realize is now they've got to deal with Texas. And what I mean by that is Sarkisian saw the SEC model in his time in Tuscaloosa. He's replicating that with a lot bigger bank book now. And I know this is going to, and forgot to mention Barry Trammell's talking about being willing to come on, so this is something we could ask him. But sure. The thing about it is that's a locomotive that once it gathers steam, it can mow down a lot of programs. And if it's by the right people, which it's all about navigating boosters and all of the Austin bigwigs. But if it gets the right person, I mean, I think in the big picture, Mac did as good a job handling the football situation in Austin as anyone. And he just kind of scratched the tip of the iceberg to me of what.
The only one who did a better job has got the stadium named after him. Daryl K. Royal.
Yeah.
But, Barry Switzer always said Texas is the best football job in the country if you're willing to put up with all the other stuff.
We've heard that our whole lives.
Because of the resources. And they're, now they're not, but heck, last year's an aberration if you consider the entire body of work of the program.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and here's the thing. It has to be a complete turnaround. This competing for a championship or, winning a conference championship, once out of every 12 years, 13 years. I mean, that's not a standard. That is,
no.
The 6 straight conference titles in a row by Oklahoma. If Texas isn't pulling off feats like that, and that goes for the SEC too, because they're going to go into that with more resources and more ability to get who they want than any other school. I don't care if it's Bama or Auburn or Georgia, Florida, they've got the best car to run in the race. You should win it.
You know what? I remember hearing this conversation in 1995. And then 4 Big 12 titles and 30 years later.
Yeah.
Or 30 years? Yeah, 30 years.
Well, and
here we are talking about it again.
And like I said, before this last season, when we knew the talent that they had in Austin, we knew what they were capable of doing and the potential of doing, and they never met it. We called it the Mecca of mediocrity. And I used to say that there was some sort of systemic problem with players who arrive in Austin. They obviously could not focus on football. And really, not saying that it's hard to say, but there's still some glaring deficiencies with a program that should have a loaded roster all up and down.
That program went 2 years without a single player getting drafted.
Yeah.
Consecutive years without a single player getting drafted. Texas.
No offensive lineman drafted for 10 years, something like that?
Yeah, a decade. Texas. So they had to start paying kids to sign.
Yeah. Yeah.
$50K right off the top to sign as an offensive lineman.
Yeah, and I've got my issues with that also. That one kind of rails on me, but that's the system. And that could change, but
right.
I mean,
and if it wasn't for Sark, I would just write it down to Texas is going to pay for all this luxury and fall flat on their face. But Sarkisian, I kind of think he's probably figured it out. He's had enough stops to do it.
They're going to have offense. I mean,
yeah,
he'll have skill players, and they lost a lot in this draft this year.
Oh, they did,
especially
on the defensive side of the football.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get at is with all of the improvement and all of the kind of realization of potential to make the playoff, their secondary still couldn't cover or tackle. I mean, that's been constant through all of this. Ever since Earl Thomas stepped off campus, it has been just a
Quentin Jammer.
It's been just a debacle of defensive secondary for that program. So, I mean,
hey, Jay Valai was involved in that nonsense down there. He was the cornerbacks coach for a season or two before he went to Bama.
Yeah. And like I said, it's it's just, and this is why we got off on this topic is the fact that, for a while that was a place where coordinators went to die, and then you see them revamped a bit at other places, and like
Greg Robinson, Manny Diaz,
yeah,
the list goes on.
Yeah, Charlie. Who was the guy that grabbed Greg? Who was the guy that
Greg
grabbed
Robinson?
Greg Robinson. Did you say?
Yeah,
you said him.
I did. That's what I said.
Sorry. But anyway, so and it's not like. And now Charlie Strong didn't do well at South Florida, but he had Louisville rolling, and then
Gene Chizik. He won a natty.
Won a natty.
Well, now, yeah, the way to only a Texas products could.
Will Muschamp was the coach in waiting, and then decided, to go to Florida.
That didn't work out.
No, not at all. Anyways, but Joe Castiglione, I think you're always going to get the best practical decision made by him, and those meetings yesterday and the interview they did with Feinbaum. If you're OU, you can look at it and say, Castiglione's holding tough. He knows how to act, how to navigate this stuff. And if you're a Texas fan, you're saying, oh, what do we got Castiglione tagging along for? Blah blah blah. Thing is you and I, we kind of dealt with this our whole life, but OU and Texas are a package deal. I mean,
if anyone's holding the leash in that relationship, it's Joe C.
You would hope.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I would hope, because I mean, Del Conte obviously might have been a little plowed already by the time.
He's like, dude, shut up.
Yeah. Sound like a fool. Did you notice in that audio his tone really turns, South Georgia. Cock iron ball.
It's like Brian Kelly wanted on set.
Yeah, exactly. You don't.
Oh my gosh.
There's no boosters you have to worry about impressing anymore. All right. So NBA playoffs tonight. The Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves take on each other. That game will be on TNT, as Dallas was unable to close out the Mavericks. I mean, the T-Wolves in Dallas the other night.
Yep. So tonight they get to play in the Target Center.
Yeah, Target with the Target circles.
The Target Target. Listen to the Target.
I love the Kristen Wiig Target lady character. Have an almond. So, but anyways, I don't know what to expect from Minnesota tonight. My pick has been blown up for a week now. I had said Minnesota in a gentleman's sweep, and they decided to go totally 180 against that. But the thing about it is with this game tonight, and I heard the guys on Inside the NBA say this, they don't close them out tonight. They dang sure better close them out in Game 6.
Yeah,
because then
exactly.
It's pretty tense. And here's the thing: looking at the numbers from that game the other night, Jeremy. You've got to hit shots against the Mavs. You can't have a bad shooting night, because they're going to get theirs.
No, I mean, Anthony Edwards was shooting, I think, 30% for the series before he dropped off a little 43% the other night.
Yeah,
and Luka had got his 28. Kyrie didn't play well. He was 30% from the floor again, 6 for 18. So you got to limit one of them. And Kyrie seems to be the one that they can limit a little bit with their perimeter defense, funnel them into the lane so Gobert can handle him. They got to continue that.
Do we know if Lively is due to come back tonight?
Oh man, let me see what the Evil 4-letter has to say. It says game time decision. I would imagine in a closeout game tonight with the pulse, he will play.
Yeah. Well, he's a difference maker to my mind. Of course, I mean, they haven't struggled down low. Karl Anthony Towns.
And Maxi Kleber's playing, so they're not struggling at forward.
Karl Anthony Towns had been 13%, I think, from 3 up until game 4 or game. Yeah. He went 4 for 5 the other night, which is
that will make that average jump significantly.
Yeah. But
you don't want Towns to be the guy out there jacking up threes all night either.
No, but if he does draw out there and he's open, I mean, he's shown he can put him down.
I mean, if he's pulling people out of the paint, that leaves Gobert open to turn it over or double dribble or just hang out in the lane for 3 seconds or throw it into the stands.
Well, and
because he's a horrible offensive player, Chuck.
The 3-second violation thing of the past, I promise you. So that one's going on tonight. Other NBA stuff. I saw an article and I need to pull it back up. Rich Paul says Bronny won't sign a 2-way contract.
Are these people seeing something I'm not seeing with this kid?
I mean, he wowed him at the combine, Jeremy.
Yeah, I know that layup he made, man. I've never seen anything like that.
The funny thing about it is I think it was even the flagship was showing clips of him from USC, or maybe it was Coward. And, speaking of Coward, his LA Chamber of Commerce, skill might not work on the General Hospital set today. Actor was murdered from his dang.
Oh my goodness!
Because somebody was stealing his catalytic converter from his Prius.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, nothing. LA's utopia. I hear that daily. But,
yeah,
that's a sad deal. But
it is.
The thing with Bronny is where I would, as an NBA GM or a scout, where I would just lose complete interest would be at the 6 foot mark.
And you're going exactly where I was heading. He's 6 feet tall. His ceiling is he's a sub 40% 3-point shooter at 6 feet tall. He's not big enough to get in the lane. He's not tall enough to finish. He's not athletic enough to finish in the league. What do you do with this kid?
Yeah.
He's not willing to develop his game as a two-way. So there's that. Are you going to waste a draft choice on him?
Somebody will.
I mean, I think that if you look at franchises like Minnesota, Oklahoma City, name another Miami, draft choices are precious, and you can't afford to waste them. You only get a couple of guys every year.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna draft this kid. He's not going to accept two-way just to get his dad, who, let's face it, is getting a bit brittle. Maybe
you would have to think some of those old man injuries would start to surface.
Father Time's about to take a golf club to his Achilles tendon.
And knees. I mean, minutes and all those games. I mean,
It's just I don't get it. I don't know why this league is complicit with Clutch Sports into forcing Bronny James on the league.
It's to try to keep their biggest star.
I know it's the same reason
probably want to keep him in a media mogul in a media market.
That's the same way they tried to make us care about that stupid in-season tournament, and the same way they try to make us care about the freaking play-in that shouldn't even be a thing.
No,
but it's got LeBron to the postseason 2 years in a row.
Well,
because they're not good enough to be a top 6 seed.
I tweeted this though, Jeremy. We would probably be looking at a T-Wolves Lakers matchup right now if they would have just lost that play-in game to New Orleans. Because I don't know that I think even, and you as a Thunder fan would have to say this, the matchup against LA would have been very dreaded. And a young team going into a matchup that's dreaded never does very well.
Yeah.
So that's the first round.
That Lakers team looked a little slow in that Nuggets series.
Oh, sure. But, I mean, that's the defending champions, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, what happened to the Nuggets? What happened to the Nuggies in the next series?
Well, that's what I was going to say. The thing about it is
smoked
Thunder
like
fans,
a pack of cools.
Yeah. And if Dallas closes it out tonight in 5, Thunder fans can probably take a little bit of solace to know that had they pulled one back and maybe made it a full 7-game series against Dallas and somehow got through, they would have competed well against whoever came out from the other side.
Sure. The death knell was the Gordon Hayward trade.
Boy, his wife's really done him no favors on social media as of late.
Well, he didn't do himself any favors when he went in front of the media in his exit interview and threw the entire organization under the bus because he refused to shoot the basketball.
Yeah. I don't know. 7:30 tonight, Dallas and Minnesota. Some baseball tonight as well. Looks like. Oh, forgot to mention, and if folks want to, please go back to our SoundCloud page. We're also on Spotify, but check out last week's episode as we visited with John Moore from the Rangers Today Baseball podcast, and so much great Rangers information. Corey Seager, Jeremy, has hit 8 homers in 8 games.
That's incredible. That hadn't been done since Griffey Jr., has it?
Yeah. I mean, that's some power, and you as well as I know that you don't get to see that many pitches if you're stroking the ball that well unless you've got some support around you.
Nobody on base.
Exactly. So Rangers got a 6-1 win last night over Arizona. And then also some news on the headline. Jalen Waddle, my wife's favorite football player, signs a 3-year, $84 million extension with the Dolphins. She always liked his touchdown celebration the best when he was at Bama, where he kind of threw his hands on his hips and kind of, waved his head. And it was cool. He's a heck of a receiver.
Yeah, 5-yard crossing routes and short hitches because Tua can't throw it out of his shadow. So, hey, we were talking about the Rangers real quick before we get on to something else. Do you see Mark Davis, owner of the Raiders, his 26-year-old girlfriend was pregnant? But it turns out that favorite of the show, Joey Gallo, was the doer.
Was she carrying Joey Gallo's baby?
That's right.
She's
carrying greatness.
Holy cow. So the equivalent of his batting average in football would be what? If the kid grows up to play for the Raiders.
It'd be like 26% completion percentage or
So did the ugly little Dutch boy have a DNA test straight out the gate?
I think she copped to it. I'm not. I just saw a headline and giggled uncontrollably because I was at work and someone said, "What are you looking at, stupid?"
So Gallo, I mean, I know he's not Garoppolo Bohunk status, but I mean, he's a sharp-looking dude, big old lad.
That's right, big strapping lad.
And then I can only imagine the age marks on Davis. Just it's one.
Man, he looks
dirt off at the pool. People are like, "Oh God, call a dermatologist."
I don't want to rip on somebody's physical appearance because he's rich. He can help it, but the movie Nothing But Trouble comes to mind every time I see him.
Which one was that? I'm having trouble.
That was Aykroyd, Chevy Chase, Demi Moore, Candy was in it. The judge, banker.
I have to go back.
Where they hit the speed trap and they get into this what was it? Constabulary, whatever.
Yeah, I think I got on Aykroyd and Chase after Spies Like Us.
Taylor Negron was in it as well, so it has a little Latin flavor.
Okay. Aykroyd was awesome
Taylor Negron.
Aykroyd was awesome in Grosse Point Blank.
Yes, he was.
That was a great one.
Yes, it was.
Real quick on your Thunder as we get back to basketball. Dan Narva checking in on the Joey Gallo situation says batting 1,000 elsewhere in life. not really if your old lady's bailing on you and hitting up Mark Davis. But yeah. So free agency, the draft. I've seen some mock drafts for the Thunder. What are they picking? 12th?
Yes.
Cody Williams, Colorado, younger brother of Jalen Williams. Would you take him?
If he's still sitting there in the second round, absolutely. Is he?
They've got him going at 12.
Oh, well then, yeah, sure, why not?
I mean, some of the mock drafts I've looked at.
Is he? What are his measurables?
Oh, you would ask me that, and I didn't.
I'm sorry.
Have it pulled up. Well, he's a Colorado buff, and hopefully he's not having to file bankruptcy like Shiloh Sanders. Oh, did I say that?
That's terrible. He's 6'6". Okay. Oh wow, he looks just like his brother.
He does. He really does. Maybe a bit more athletic looking. I'm going to say 6'8", 190.
Yeah, you handcuff him and Chet to the buffet over at the what's a good buffet in the metro? Hometown Buffet, I think, closed.
I'm going. I'm going. What's the Asian buffet there on 240 and Western?
Let's see. Yeah.
Of course, I mean, because the good thing about that is you eat.
Oh, right behind the emergency vet. It really is. Yeah.
No, it's where the old Hometown Buffet used to be.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yes.
How's the weather out there? You like hot fudge sundaes?
Golden Corral would be a good spot for him.
Yeah, send him to Golden Corral.
Right in front of the chocolate waterfall.
Just send him down to Cattleman's every day for a presidential cut, at lunchtime.
Sure.
Beef them up. I mean, Holmgren's got to beef up. But here's one thing I'll say this, Jeremy. After watching the Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert, struggle with defending the paint against the Mavericks, I don't think Holmgren and the boys did all that bad a job.
No, they did. The Thunder's problem was their offense just disappeared once they got into that series. They did a great job on Luka. They did a great job. Yeah.
Shoot the ball well, and you can beat the Mavs.
Yeah, if they would have shot the ball well, it's 4-0.
Yeah.
Because they shot just pitifully.
Sure. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see
how do you lose by 3 and shoot 38% from the floor and in the teens from 3? How do you keep it that close? Yeah. Oh, you play really good defense
and fast break opportunities.
Luka openly weeping on the floor. Did you see what he did last night or in the last game?
Point out which one. I saw he jumping around
when he went to the elbow and tried to go for a shot, but lowered his shoulder into a guy who was just standing there, and then turned around and fake tough guy in his face. And
oh yeah, I saw.
You just ran right up my back, bro. I had nothing to do with that.
I think I saw McDaniel and who was it? There was about to be some squaring off, and then Luka, stopped his layup. Mobile.
If Luka had the attitude of like Larry Bird, he would be beloved. Larry would just talk to everybody, talk noise, just say.
I think he talks plenty of noise.
Yeah, but he also whines and cries every single time anybody looks at him.
Yeah, he talks plenty. So that's tonight, and we'll see if Dallas is able to advance to take on the Boston Celtics. Jeremy, with Bill Walton passing this week. And then also Cornbread Maxwell giving the Celtics the trophy the other night. I'm for the Celtics, whoever they take on in this series.
Sure. And I think the NBA is going to make sure Minnesota wins tonight because you can't have a week of a dead spot before the finals.
No, they don't want that at all.
No,
at all. And also I'm a bit of a Jason Tatum fan, and I thought he was. I've enjoyed his career, what he's done, and he takes a beating nationally. And I want to see him get a trophy because I think they're talking about, and granted, it's an exclusive club, but to say he's really not even on the second team of all great Celtics, that's.
Well, you got to realize how many great guys have played for the Celtics, Chuck.
But most of those guys were playing against plumbers, Jeremy. That's what.
Oh, wow. I guarantee you, if he wins a championship, he'll make his way on that list. He's on their soul. He's not on their soul because he's never won a title.
Yeah.
And they have how many titles as a franchise?
17.
17.
One less.
So you got Kuzi, Russell, Larry, McHale,
Cornbread
Maxwell, Danny Ainge.
Yeah. John Matthews checking in, reminding me to mention Prairie West Golf Course in Weatherford, and yours truly, and John Matthews from 95.5, the Coyote Mornings, will be playing in the Thomas Volunteer Fire Department Scramble tomorrow at Prairie West in Weatherford. Prairie West becomes difficult for me to say anymore. It's right in there. Rural. Prairie West, yeah.
Prairie golf course.
Played it last Friday. Our team shot a 61. Now we did purchase several mulligans, so
what's the gimme situation like? If you hit the green, is it a gimme or?
Oh no!
Are you within a grip?
You got to be within a grip. Yeah, it's
okay.
And that's where because we played. Our team of 4 played with 4 other dudes, so you got a lot of eyes watching. And
speaking of which, I just got an email from lostgolfballs.com if you need any low prices on Titleist.
Ooh, hey. Let me tell you this. I donated a lot of highlighter green Strixons. That's another one. Strixons.
So did you go over the 4?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you did.
4 was way low.
Did you have to buy a sleeve at the turn? That's the question.
Hey, at the turn, I was balling, dude. Everyone knows the first 9 – if you play, and I'll be in all honesty, I was playing pretty cautious, trying to keep it in play, not go too far, which that's when I lose it. If I'm trying to get distance, it just goes everywhere. But at the turn, I think I was 2 down. And you think, okay, 2 down at the turn, and then 11 and 12, I'm down a ball. So I think I was at the over under at 16, and then 16 is a boom. So,
I remember many years ago, I could go out and play around with one ball.
really,
Like a lot of times, it's happened more than once. Well, not since then. I mean, now I don't play enough. If I hit one in the water, that's all I think about. And of course, that means might as well just go dump the bag of balls in the water.
yeah. Well,
They're all going to get wet eventually.
But here's the funny thing, Jeremy, is I should be judged on the net. I mean, because I was finding balls left and right looking for mine.
Yeah,
So
that works out too.
Rattlesnake woods looking for a ball, I would come out with 2 or 3.
Throw a highlighter green Strixon into the wooded area and come out with 3 Pro V1s.
Kind of worked that way, honestly.
Yeah.
One was like a you remember those blue pieces in the game Sorry? And there's some, it's not like royal blue, it's like you see some of those Ford Mustangs.
Volvic. The Volvic balls.
This was a McGregor, but I did find a couple of Volvics, which I'm kind of weird saying on the air. But
you should just, those are the ones you just tee up and see how far you can hit. And, hopefully they find water because you don't want them in your bag.
But I found
those are long drive balls, apparently.
I found a blue McGregor that lasted me the last couple holes, and then on 18, it was the one that I lost on the drive. So anyway. But I'll be honest with you, with the warmer temperatures, I am a little more reluctant to go into the woods looking for them. So, we need to get out of here, but, viewing on the weekend, Jeremy, you mentioned the RBC Canadian Open in Hamilton, Ontario. Any leaders? Have you been watching that at all?
It's on in the background, but, I was watching the McIlroy group. I don't know who's leading right now, but let's see.
McIlroy had a wife that's been out.
I think he divorced his wife.
Yeah, I think she's coming out public with some stuff. Women's College World Series, weather permitting today. OU Lady Sooners take on Duke at 1:30. OU baseball tomorrow begins their regional against Oral Roberts. That one's becoming nut. Man, I must have a fat tongue anymore because it's just so many things are difficult for me to spit out. A Oral Roberts tomorrow. That begins at 6, and both of those games will be on the station, which I am still affiliated with, 97.3 The Score in Western Oklahoma, KCLIAM.com. And then OSU softball begins this evening, weather permitting, against Florida at 8 o'clock. And then their baseball team hosts their regional beginning tomorrow against Niagara at 5:30. OU was ranked higher in the regional standings. They missed out on the number 8 seed. But they have to take on a pretty decent Oral Roberts team to start out, and OSU's got Niagara.
Yeah. OU gets the in-state team with a chip on their shoulder, and exactly. OSU gets Niagara.
Yeah, somebody who had to travel, 8 hours by plane. But anyway, so that the softball, and I had it written down, but I lost it. If OU takes care of Duke, I think they've got either Alabama or UCLA up next. And then
I think that sounds right.
Yeah, OSU, which they'll take on one of those two, win or lose. And then OSU's either got Texas or Stanford. Is Texas's softball team just not the biggest bitch in sports?
Whoa! Yeah, pretty much. I mean, their stadium is built out of trash.
He's a bitch. I am sorry to get so French on our broadcast, but I mean, he's awful. A weenie.
Yeah. Usually I have a soft spot for the Aussies, but that guy's a jackass.
He is a total jackass. And if you go to Twitter, you can see all of the stupid stuff he's saying, which particularly has been nothing but they should move the College World.
Yeah. Throws his own players under the bus, cries because the 15,000 foot or 15,000 seat nicest softball stadium in the lower 48 is in Oklahoma City. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? That's where do you want to have it? At their stadium that's built out of garbage? Did you see in their super regional when the outfield wall collapsed and they were picking up trash for about 30 minutes during the game?
Yeah. It's a joke. Last time the OU – I'm sorry, go ahead.
You know where they would have the Women's College World Series if the Devon College Hall of Fame Stadium was not available?
Where?
Loves Field.
Yeah, that's true.
The nicest softball facility in the lower 48 states.
Yeah.
So they need to shut up. You know, Oklahoma's only been good for what, 20, well, since Patty got there.
Yeah,
so you know what? And it's been
99.
there forever.
Yeah. Because didn't they win their first national title the same year that Stoops won his in 2000?
It was 2000, 2001, I believe.
Jeremy on Twitter, the ref in Norman, KREF Sports, posted the last time we played the Longhorns at 2:30. This happened, and it's the Mark Andrews touchdown from Baker back in 2017. Yeah. So, what's his name? Mike White.
Yes.
Yeah, he's terrible.
He's just an awful human.
And I may have to go back and edit out what I called him, but it's pretty.
You can leave my jackass in there.
Yeah. And Narva, I see Patty had some good comments about the Women's College World Series venue. Here's the thing, Jeremy, like you said, talk about neutrality, talk about home field advantage. You know, Omaha's been hosting the Men's World Series since you and I were born.
And on that, when
Right,
Nebraska made it there in
touched
2 seasons,
Yeah.
there was a sea of red in Omaha, Nebraska, but they didn't win.
No.
They did nothing at the College World Series.
Yeah.
Oklahoma's going to win wherever they go, especially maybe not this year, but in years past when they've just had that offense that was unstoppable, plus, you know, the pitching.
Well, buddy, we're late, so let's go ahead and start making our exit here. What do you got going on this weekend besides your daughter's? I know what you
convalescence. Yeah, you know, we're gonna catch up on some TV, and I'm off the next 10 days, so we're gonna.
Ooh, look at you!
Yeah, it's I'm gonna get out and hit some daggum golf balls.
Yeah, are we coming up on that time that we had said, or is that
yes?
Later?
Well, yes,
Hey,
I'm off this week, and then I work a few days, then I'm off another week.
Let me know. I mean, I can probably flex around your schedule. So
cool.
The last of my scrambles is coming up. Probably next week we'll reach out to Rhonda Smickless and get her back on and talk about the Children's Health Foundation scramble that's coming up in June. So let's plan. We'll talk more about that. He's Jeremy Schroeder, the ruler of the airways. I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog. We want to thank you for tuning in here on the Weekend Big Show. Be safe out there. Don't text and drive, and sure don't drink and drive. And we'll talk to you real soon.